No, no.
Thank you.
Here. We'll pass. I guess she coming here. All right, this class will be on the initial creative energy of the universe, from a metaphysical standpoint. And I guess we talk around this a lot in this class. But can this be seen? Can this?
Seen in the class? Or
Yeah, online. Can you turn the lights off? So.
Well, I have it.
I mean, they can't see it. Turn one of the lights down. I'll turn it down. I get it. Leave one of the lights on. Yeah, that's good. So we're going to just look at it from, we're going to look at creation from a point of view, because this subtle energy is actually the background of everything. And it's the components that make up everything. And if you can begin to realize that, you can really begin to manipulate the energy, per se. And in the teachings, it's referred to over and over and over and over and over. But most people really don't go deep into it. There's only a few books out there that actually go deep into this. And they're popular books, but they're books that's really not understood by the greater population of the metaphysical circles. So let's go have a stab at this. The initial creative energies actually comes from Shiva, the Absolute. And we understand probably one of the best ways to describe or briefly understand the Absolute is look at it as a endless potential. If you can imagine in the beginning, where there is no in the beginning, but in the beginning of creation, there was absolute silence, absolute darkness, total stagnant, just total unmanifested state of being, yet with endless potential. See, because the Absolute had no beginning and have no end. And for some reason, the Absolute, which we call God, brought forth manifestation. And this manifestation, what we're told in all the Bibles, was brought forth by the Absolute or God speaking the word. Now, in Hinduism and Christianity and Judaism and Buddhism, they all say the same thing, that God spoke the word. But in the sacred teachings of the Vedas and throughout and the Upanishads, that commentary the Vedas, they go into greater depth of what this meant. the word, they describe word as vak, right? Which is the initial sound vibration, the initial creative sound vibration that was released from the absolute. And that's this right here. We have Shiva, the absolute, endless potential. Then we have Vak. Notice there's 21 stages here. And what happened is when the Vak, the creative sound vibration that's actually released is what some people call the great word, right? The AUM. But it's really more than that, because within the AUM, there's two parts to the AUM. There's a publicly known word, and then there's a secret word that's never given out, because there's positive, negative pole to creation. In order to bring anything into being, you need a positive and a negative pole, and it comes together, and then you have the new thing that's introduced into manifestation on a particular level. So you have Shiva in the beginning that releases this creative word, which is really Nata Shati. Nata means supreme sound, right? And I call it Nata Shati, the creative sound, which in this creative sound is a specification of all life. Because why? Because within that sound, a portal is created to release pure potential. So anything can come from it, okay? And it is the seeds of the divine will, this creative sound. Then from that, Shati is brought forth. The Shati power is brought forth in full potential, okay? And the Shati is that initial creative and sustaining power for all life, okay? You had something?
Yeah, I'm trying to make it into words though.
Okay.
I'll come back.
So those are like the three main, which really is two, Shiva and Shati. But you really never hear of the Nata or the Vak unless you get deep into the mystic teachings. And then they explain how Shati manifested itself from Shiva. Because if you listen to the allegories, they speak as though Shiva was this individual and Shati was an individual, you know. And then they have Vishnu being an individual too, right? But really, when we really begin to look at this and look at the mystic part of it, you'll notice that these are levels of energy and levels of supreme beings, consciousness, really. And because of that, it's a part of us. It is us, okay? Shiva exists within each and every last one of us. Shati exists within each and every last one of us. Nata exists within each and every last one of us, okay? So, and then we'll get to Vishnu later, but Vishnu is us, you know. But it begins to get kind of complicated if you don't understand the greater principles of all this. The sound vibration that came from the Absolute, came from God, is a sound energy. Yeah, go ahead.
Where does feeling come in that? In the
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that. You'll see. All of this is feeling. But sound, the energy, the energy is, you had divine will, right? Divine will is Shiva. And Shiva releases what? Sound. And this sound is a product of divine will. Because why? Within the sound is what? The specifications of what? Of all life. Okay? So you have to understand that sound, when we say sound, we're talking about several levels of sound. Okay? You have the potential of sound, right? Right? The potential of sound is what? Anybody remember from the other classes? Anybody? The potential of sound is what? You have sound, right? It's a parasound in a sense, yeah. But we don't want to go too much into Sanskrit because I want everyone to understand. But what it is that this is sound, a potential of sound, right? Parasound is pure sound. So it is almost an unspoken sound. So what does that make it? Huh? It's like pure thought, right? Or really above thought, right? Right? Because why? Because it's a potential. It hasn't happened yet, but it has a potential. In other words, if you can imagine, there's a gulf of great potential, right? Right? That the of potential of sound that can be made, but it only can be made. It's in a parallel state right now. So it's endless, this endless potential of sound, right? And that is your, Shiva, the great spirit within you, the spark of God within you, that divine spark of God spirit within you. It has connection to this endless potential, right? Remember, we are what? In our original state, we are what? Spirit. And spirit is this endless potential that's connected to God. Because why? Spirit never disconnects itself from the Almighty, right? You're always connected to the Almighty. So this unspoken, this soundless sound to in other words, that's how we describe it. It's a soundless sound. Is that potential, is the spirit, right? It's the spirit. And then connected to that is the para sound, which is the portal for that soundless sound, right? Which is really soul, which is really the soul. So you have spirit, and then you have soul being the vehicle to allow spirit to express itself. Okay? Now, what you have is the next level, right, is what? First what? Anybody remember? Nobody remember? What's the next one? You have first movement of sound, right? Where now the sound makes its first movement within manifestation, right? So its first movement within manifestation begins to do what? It begins to magnetically pull on what? All substance. All substance that's available for it and begin to rearrange it in order to do what? In order to manifest what? In order to manifest the creation, or in order to manifest, divine will imposes those conditions upon what? Mind. Upon mind. Okay? So what happens is that this first movement is that. It's imposing those conditions upon mind to do what? To create whatever you want to be created. Whatever you need to be created in order to do what? In order to, what?
Evolve.
Yes, in order to involve and evolve, all right? In order to begin to set up the necessary cycles for the soul to gain what? Experience, right? Which we call in the, what we called it in the Constitution of Man? Anybody remember? We call the vehicles of what? Of expression. Vehicles of expression for the soul. All right? So the next level of sound will be that level that brings what? It's at the heart level, and that'll help you. Meaning. Right? And then the last level of sound is that level that does what?
Gross solidification.
Not only gross, but it does what? Yeah, you're right. But I'm saying not only that, but what else?
Mental thought forms.
It allows you to express yourself on all levels. Right? Because at that point, at the meaning level, you take on the subtle energy bodies, right? You take on the astral, which is the mental, the energy bodies, which is the mental bodies, the astral bodies, and the etheric bodies. And now you can express itself when you go to that fourth level. You can begin to express yourself through all these bodies, plus the gross physical body. Okay? And this sound works like that on every level of existence. On every level of existence. And we can see it. We can see it working like that. So it's not the ordinary sound that we're making with our mouth that only travels 600 sometimes, I mean 600 miles, the rate of sound. And what is travel? 600 something per what? Is per minute or something like that? Sound travels, as opposed to light, which is 186,000, times per second or whatever. So sound travel very small, but when the great teachings, the ancient teachings talked about sound, they were talking about sound that's above consciousness, sound that is consciousness, the mental sounds and the physical sounds, and sounds on all the planes of existence. So the sound that occurs with the subtle energy level on the atomic level, but beyond the atomic level, the subatomic level, then the sound that because mind is a part of sound with the ancient teachings. We look at mind as a product of sound, okay? And there are several levels of sound with mind. If I say sound, you should say consciousness, because those things that make sound has a consciousness. Now, if you have consciousness and sound, then you have feelings, and scientists have proven this, because as far back as the 60s, prior to the 50s, they noticed, and probably beyond that, they noticed that if they go and unroot a tree and replant that tree somewhere else, that tree can easily die. But when they gave that tree an anesthetic, right, and put this tree asleep, and then moved the tree and replaced it in the ground, the tree had a greater chance of living. See? So what does that tell you? That tells you that tree has some level of consciousness, because it had feeling. It hurts, The same thing with metal. They noticed that if they dip the metal in some type of anesthetic and cut that metal had less metal fatigue in the future, right? So that indicates that metal has what? It has some type of level of consciousness. So it's living, in other words. It's living. So that's what sound. So when we say sound energy is on many, many different levels. Your mental thought is a sound, okay? Your mental thought is a sound. And you have several levels of mental thought. Thought energy or mind energy travels 4 million times the speed of light. It's faster than light. So it's tremendously fast. So it have to go through all these different levels in order to condense it to speech. No one can never ever really tell you exactly what's on their mind, because the mental thoughts travel much too fast to condense it to speech, right? They can only paraphrase, so the mind is much greater. So let's look at this. Sound, from Shiva, Nata, and Shakti comes the sound energy. The sound energy it has a framework of specifications, right? A specified actions within it. If you and I, if we wanted to create something, we do what? We put together a series of what? Letters, words, phrases, and sentences to speak to what we want to develop, right? We create word pictures And we create pictures and diagrams in order to do what? In order to convey a message, in order to lay out the specifications for what we want to bring to pass. All right? That is the magic or the creative power of sound. Okay? Because it works from a purely imaginative or creative level down to the pencil, which is the pencil. The writing is just a version of speech. Okay? So in nature, when God spoke the word, that's what was going on. Okay? That word gave life or gave position to the supreme lords of creation. It gave them a position to do what? To bring about the divine will of God. Okay? Am I losing anybody? Huh? Okay. So within sound, you have two major things going on. Karma, right? Which specifies action and the specification of that action, the intelligence of that action. And you have Nani, which is the intelligent signatures within that sound. Okay? I write here the intelligent signatures that is behind, surround, and within all actions produce in manifested creation. And that's what the Nani is in that sound vibration. Okay? So it is very, very important to understand that. When you chant mantra, what you're actually doing is recoding and decoding the body, right? Because what happened, the sound bits that makes up your consciousness, mantra is related to that. The holy, I'm talking about Sanskrit mantra, is related to that. And what it does, it allows you to burn up negative karma. So when you code your aura with that mantra, it ignites the body, it spins the aura, and it helps you burn up negative karma. Because in the presence of that pure sound vibration that's affecting your aura, certain things cannot exist. They cannot be there. So that's why the spinning of the aura happens, the throwing off of negative things happen. The whole atmosphere become electrified with mantra. And when you study the ancient teachings, you'll notice, oh, this is why this happens, because that's how powerful this sound is, because you're working the sound on all levels, especially if you intone the mantra just right. Okay? Yeah.
Intelligent signatures
Mm-hmm.
is what?
Intelligent signal,
Yeah.
that's the sound that's being released.
Okay.
That actually releases the endless potential. Remember, in the beginning, there was just endless potential. But this endless potential is not experienced, right? It cannot be experienced. Then the sound is released, and all of a sudden a portal open up to allow that potential to be experienced. You understand? In other words, the scientists would say, oh, it's the Big Bang. The Big Bang, and then, all these things start happening, and stuff start rolling, and everything comes together magically. No, it was divine will imposing those conditions upon mind. All right? Now, we'll get into that when we go into the latter part of this, right? It's just because in that sound had the right tone to release, to create the portal, release this this great potential, right? And at the same time bring about this supreme lords of creation to manage everything, right? Because it's really the act of the supreme lords of creation, right? That this portal is, right? You know, and we have to really understand that. The ability for you to I don't want to get too off, but the ability for you to drink water is because a diva is there to allow that to happen. Not only with the water, but within you. Okay? So this is you know, in order for your heart to beat, there's a diva there that allows that to happen, right? That helps create to create that situation. So if you can imagine these great lords of creation, that portal is the lords of creation, and they are these great Mahadevas, in a sense, or devatas in a sense, that allow this to happen. Right? And everything have to pass through them. Now, in this packet, I gave brief definitions for all of this. If you go through it, you'll see there's brief definitions for these things. So then comes the light. Because in the beginning, you had sound, light, mind, and this love energy. All of these are energies, right? Now, the light, the release of the creative power of Shakti from Shiva, okay? And within that is sound, light, karma, and the Nani yoga. I mean, the Nani power. A series of sound vibrations coupled with karmic law, divine wisdom, of Nani movement within the creative sound and light. And that's what's happening, okay? So you cannot have light without sound. In fact, sound is the thing that moves Shakti to produce this light, okay? In fact, Dr. George King said for every light you have 7 sound. You have several sounds within that light, which is true, you know, which just lets you know that it looks like it should be the other way around, but it's not. You know, it's sound first, and now you got to understand that, and that's why sound at its highest octave moves quicker than light. Which is sound at that point is operating on this great etheric mental level, and it moves 4 million times the speed of light. Yeah.
Light is composed of 7 basic frequencies.
That's right. Yeah.
And those are the 7 sounds.
Mm-hmm. So now you have this mind energy, chitta, or the all-pervasive aspect of Akasa, Shakti, / the universal mind substance, if you can understand this, okay? And we'll get into this later, and so you can clearly understand it. Sound, light, karma, Nani, and then the mind energy itself, right? A sea of Shakti, a sea of chitta energy substance, a pure creative mind substance that pervades the whole universe, giving shape to endless potential of the energy radiating from the absolute, right? Stillness of God, which is the stillness of God. You have to understand that. Now, none of this, we wouldn't know about none of this if we didn't have the next energy, which is love. This love energy is that energy that preserves everything. Okay? It preserves everything. An all-pervasive preservative energy that operates as the aspect of Akasa Shakti. Okay? It is the carrying agent and it is the preserver of all life, of all manifested life. In other words, it preserves the energy as it moves away from the absolute, from the endless potential into manifestation. All right? It is the energy that the great lords of creation use in order to create, in order to manifest this sound and light into vehicles of expression. It is the love energy that does this. All right? It is the great preservative energy of the universe. In other words, we live by the grace of God, the love and grace of God. All right? Other than that, we don't exist because it is the divine will of God that brought us into being. All right? That manifested all creation. All right? So, and of course, this is the sum total of everything: sound, light, karma, nani, mind energy, love energy. And all-pervasive, preservative, creative energy that act as the carrying agent that preserves all life energies within the universe and to animate it throughout its cycles of involution and evolution, and is used as a primary energy to help transmute the life stream's consciousness to a higher spiritual level of consciousness.
After that first movement sound, it is the love energy that preserves that movement and therefore makes all other movements possible, all subsequent movements possible.
Yeah, it is the love energy, the portal itself, the portal that's created, the supreme lords of creation is that love energy. You understand? They, in other words, they bring creation about.
And maintain it.
Yeah, they bring creation about and maintain it through love energy. It is that love energy that makes all that happen. Other than that, it'll flicker out within a second.
Back to potential.
Yeah, it'll go right back to potential. So remember, when we get up and pray, right, and we want to pray for someone, the thing that carry that energy from us to that person is love energy. Because the love energy is the carrying energy, is that energy that carries, which is the same as Akasa. Okay, Akasa is love energy. Akasa, and see, when you go back to the ancient teachings, they say you have Prana and Akasa. That's it. Some of them, they just simple. In fact, the great metaphysical scientist, which was Swami Vivekananda, he said you have Akasa and you have Prana, and this is what creation is. You know, Akasa and Prana. And now, of course, he's correct, because within Akasa is all 5 Mahabhutas. Because all 5 Mahabhutas cannot exist without Akasa. But Akasa is a love energy, is a preservative energy. If you love something, what do you want to do with that? Instinct is to preserve it. You know, and you'll go at all, if you really, really love it, you'll go at any extent to preserve it. No, it doesn't matter how much money you have to spend or whatever, you want to preserve that. It doesn't matter how much energy, how much work you have to put behind it, you want to preserve it. So love energy is that energy that carry us from one cycle to the next cycle, to the next cycle, to the next cycle. So that love energy was, from day one, it was with the supreme laws of creation. And the supreme laws of creation created this wave of love throughout the universe, throughout the galaxies. And that's the signature energy that not only the supreme laws of creation uses, but the galaxy, which is the Lord of creation, uses, and the supreme laws of karma uses too. And the mighty sun, the planets, all of them use this love energy in order to maintain the cycles of their perspective existence. So everybody understand?
So as an aside to that, in the Mars story, because evidence used love, that's why it was so powerful, able to do what it did.
Yes.
Having to tapping into a creative force itself.
Yeah, because see, love energy is the only energy that, in other words, love energy taps into this. It can recreate itself from itself. No other energy can do that. You understand that? You don't understand that? In other words, we talked about this endless potential, right? Remember, we talked about it? Let me write that up here. This endless potential. The endless potential was with who in the beginning? It was with the absolute. So when we can tap into this creative love energy, right? Then that means we can tap into endless potential of the absolute. So love energy is the only energy that can take itself, produce more energy from itself. No other energy can do that. No other energy can do that. Okay? So let's say the great Mahabindu of this solar system, right? The only reason why all the other planets exist within its orbit is because it can pull on this love energy. Don't believe the craziness of fission and all this other stuff that the scientists tell us. There's a subtle activity going on between that. The mighty sun has the ability to tap into this great love energy, and that's what creates the cycles. That's what allows the planets to exist, all right? That's what allows it to continually push out this tremendous energy to all the planets within this, within its orbit. And it's hundreds of planets, because you got to count the moons of each of all the planets, right? Without expending itself, right? Because it's this great master of love, right? Because why? It wants to preserve life throughout the solar system, throughout the galaxy. So it's this tremendous love energy, and love energy is the only energy that can do that. Now, okay, now, so we talked about the Shiva, we talked about the Vak, the Shakti, and we went into the sound energy and all of that, the love energy. the light energy and the mind energy. Now, and I talked to you about the supreme lords of creation and the galaxies, which are lords of creation, right? And so all this energy is released from from the lords of from the absolute through the lords of creation down to the galaxies, right? And within the galaxy, they create the galaxy. We can say, let's say the galaxy have a central sun, and this central sun does the same thing. It acts as a lord of creation, and it pushes this energy, this great energy through all the solar lords, which is the mighty sun of each solar system, and then they pushes the energy to all the planets and moons or whatever, the satellites of those planets. And from that, we are maintained, we are sustained. And it is this love energy that's produced from this great level of the absolute that pushes down itself, that moves down from the laws of creation to the galaxies, and is maintained by, a balance is kept by the supreme lords of karma, right? And then the energy comes to us from the solar lords, which is the mighty sun itself, right? And the ancient teachings tell us it's all done through what? No one knows? Huh? It's all done through what? No one knows? We just talked about it. Through sound. It's all done through sound. If we look at it, let's see if I can, I know I have a diagram here. If we just look at this little small diagram here, that's the 5th page. You have the Vak, which is the initial sound. You have the Nata, which is the perpetual sound. And then you have Shati, which the Nata affects, which produces the 4 principles of sound, right? Which we kind of talked about, which is the nani, the mind, the prana, which is the power itself, and then you have dana, which is love, which is the love energy. Now, and then you have the Mahabhutas, which is the creative, which is the elements, the cosmic elements of the universe, which everything is made of. Everything is made of the Mahabhutas, right? The Mahabhutas is the energy that all life uses in order to express itself, either in involution or evolution, all right? And it's all pushed and done by sound. It's all pushed and done by sound. You have, like, Akasa. You have Vayu. Akasa is etheric sound and space, and that sound and space, what it does, the Akasa, it goes out and creates space. And it does this through etheric sound. It uses etheric sound to create space. And that space becomes the portal in which all other energy comes through. Then you have what the Hindus like to use, the vayu, which is the breath of God, which is an air quality or locomotion, which because air does what? Air calls what? Motion to happen, right? If you take air and push it behind something, the thing begins to move, right? And then you have the next one is Tejas, which is you have the light, the heat, and then the fire, right? Which plays on the space and air, right? And then you have the the water quality, the liquid quality comes behind that. Because why? Because what does heat does? If I tuck air and put heat on it, I expand it, right? Then if I take and put water on it, what happens? It contracts. And then what happens? I begin to see what? Huh? Condensation. Which what? Which solids. I can begin to experience solids. And then the next thing happen is the parites, which is, because that contraction, I began to see particles of what? Of dust and solids begin to happen, right? Because why? Because when it cools down, then you have the sediment. See? And from that cycle goes on and on and on until you have vehicles of substance on all levels of existence. All right? So now, this is, these teachings are thousands of years old. It's nothing new. It's just being said in our modern day language so that we can begin to understand. This right here kind of gives you the level in which all this happened, all the way down to the solar level, right? Where you have the spoken word, and the spoken word moves. You see how it releases. It helps bring about creation on all different levels. It moves and show from the galaxies to the solar system.
So that space that Akasha creates,
Mm-hmm.
it's creating that out of mind. It's creating out of potential
Remember, what is sound?
motion,
No. What is sound?
consciousness.
Yeah. And what is consciousness? What's the product of a consciousness? Consciousness is a product of what?
Motion.
Huh?
Of motion, of movement.
Of mind. See, sound is what? If I say sound, you say consciousness, but you can also say mind. At this level, you say what? You say chitta, because why? We're not dealing with a vehicle. We dealing with universal. Chitta, remember, chitta is what? It's a universal mind substance. It's not necessarily, chitta is not the mind that's within the body. It's the mind outside of the body, right? So that means it's a universal mind. Okay, so at this level, we're talking about a creative level. So when sound is produced, and we're not talking about the spoken sound. We're talking about a sound on a superior level, a pure sound, which is above consciousness, which is on a mind, a universal mind level, right? Which moves millions and millions and millions of times the speed of light, right? So this sound is produced, this holy sound from the absolute. This, in fact, is a soundless sound. In other words, that's how they describe it. It's a soundless sound. And it's produced, and it creates this tremendous space, which what we look up and call the universe. And that is a portal, to allow all energies to flow. It's the carrying agent of all energies, right? And then it begins to work from the highest level to the smallest level. And one of the smallest levels that it works is within our solar system, okay? You have the sun releases the sound, which we know one aspect of the sound is the AUM. It releases this sound. From this sound comes a kasa, right? And the sun releases this akasa every 32 minutes, from what we're told. And what happened, this akasa comes out and it creates this wave of energy, right? And it circles the earth, right? Now, when it circles the earth, we're told that the physical manifestation of the kasa circling the earth creates the blue sky that we see, because a kasa has a blue tint to it, right? And then from that, all the other energies can form itself, right? Once it hits once it moves from one Mahabindu to another Mahabindu, which is Earth. Earth is a Mahabindu, is a great point of consciousness, right? That's what Mahabindu means. And now it comes into the atmosphere and it creates this blue illusion, right? Because blue is the color for illusion, and from that, all the other energies can be experienced, which is what? Atmosphere, air, which is vayu, right? Light, right? Because all of a sudden, from this blackness comes this light. When it hit that, we experience it, this brilliant light inside our atmosphere. But outside our atmosphere, it doesn't look that brilliant, right? So now you have this light, and then you have this water from a misty state all the way down to a solid state, right? Liquid and ice, right? Misty, steam, liquid, ice. You have this, and then you have all the solids, right? The rock, the plant life, the human life, the fish life, those are all the solids. Those are the Mahabindus. We live and experience life through the Mahabindus. Now, when we get down to our human body, the Mahabindus surround us, make us who we are in the sense of our expressions of vehicles, but it transforms into the pranas. Then we have the 5 major pranas, right? Because when it enters our body, we call it a different name. We call it what? Udana, Prana, Samana, right? Vyana, and what? Apana, right? And each one creates a particular action to do what? To sustain life. It's all about sustaining life. All of that is all about sustaining life. So if it sustained life, if it preserved life, what type of energy is it? It's a love energy. Okay, so that's all you got to understand, and now it goes deeper than that, but to go deeper than that is just going to confuse you if we start breaking it up even deeper than that. But if you look at page 6, you can see an overview of that, and then you move down to.
Before you switch, I have a couple of questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Vicky is asking if you can explain and describe what cosmic intelligence is.
What?
Cosmic intelligence?
Can I explain what cosmic intelligence is?
Yeah, explain and describe what it is.
Cosmic intelligence is the Earth is a cosmic intelligence. The sun is a cosmic intelligence. The laws of karma is cosmic intelligence. The laws of creation is a cosmic intelligence. The solar system is a cosmic intelligence. Because the solar system is an intelligence that the sun and all the planets and all the moons exist within. It's just this stuff is just not random. It may look random to us because we don't understand the mathematics behind it. But it's cosmic, it's intelligence. You know, the galaxy is a living, breathing entity itself. Everything in the galaxy makes up a living being. And we just happen to exist and have our existence and life within this living being. But it's an intelligence, and it moves like an intelligence and act like an intelligence. We just cannot measure its movement and its intelligence. But we can see fragments of it. If you can imagine, many years ago, they didn't understand the significance of a rainbow. But now, by studying the rainbow and studying the different frequencies, we have what? We have television, we have radios, we have our smartphones, we have our Wi-Fi, we have all these things only because someone took the time to begin to measure and calculate and use mathematics to understand the different frequencies of light and radio waves that's within our atmosphere and within our solar system.
Next question, can love energy be misused? If so, is it still called love?
All energy can be manipulated, but if you have different levels of this love energy, just like anything. Everything has a negative and positive pole to it, scientifically, and what I want to say. Well, it just has a negative pole to it. The opposite of love, of course, is hate, but it's still an energy. But it still operates on the principles of this great love energy, in a sense, but in the opposite way. And it can only exist for so long in that negative cycle, because it must find balance. All right? So now, one of the greatest crimes you can do is misuse this energy, the energy called love. That's why they say one of the greatest crimes you can commit is what? It's murder. Because love energy does what? It preserves. So when you cut that preservation off, that's one of the greatest crimes you can commit is to kill, is to stop that love energy, is to not use that love energy. In fact, when we die, one of the main questions they ask us is, why didn't we use this love energy more, you know, to sustain our lives and the lives around us, okay? So yes, love energy is like a bullet. You know, you pull a bullet in a gun, and you can use the bullet to do good or evil. It's an energy. But the effects of using this subtle energy, and it's very hard to tap into the highest levels of love energy. Because in order to tap into the highest levels of love energy, you have to, you have to almost become pure yourself. You have to curb all your actions and your mental thoughts in order to tap into this energy, right? Although you live and exist on this love energy that's being produced by greater sources, because we live by the love and grace of the great ones, So in other words, the negative things that our entire race have, the crimes that they have committed, we shouldn't be able to live as long as we live here on earth. But because of the love and grace of the great ones, our lives are made so that we can exist and gain some experience and move from one cycle to the next cycle to the next cycle. But other than that, the karmic law will fall down on us so hard that we may spend thousands upon thousands of years on the lower astral realms. Let's see. What I wanted to show you all something.
So there's one energy released from the absolute, through supreme modification and so forth. At each level, it's taken, modified, and then pushed back out.
Right.
And taken, modified, pushed back out.
Right.
Down to our level.
Down to our level, yes.
We take this holy energy, turn it into manas,
Mm-hmm.
and mess it all up. Basically, that's the negative impact.
We take.
We're supposed to kind of.
We're not taking love energy and doing that. So we're taking mind energy. Although mind energy can only exist with love energy. Remember, all energy can only exist with this love energy, right? But we take chitta, and chitta becomes manas. Because why? Because it comes into contact with man, with animal and man. And then it becomes a manas energy, right? And that's how we begin to function. That's when, because all of this is, remember I taught you all before, is the modifications of Shakti.
Right.
So Shakti is constantly modified, and until we can exist, until a bug can exist, an animal, a fish, and all, Shakti is constantly modified until we have existence of different levels of life. So yeah, we get this manas, and then the manas, the pure mind energy is affected. And that's why they choose to say manas, because at that point, we alter the mind energy, and the mind energy is altered karmically and it begins to create a different web that's going to give different reactions. Remember, karma is pressure. Right. And the same way now the akasa around the earth, it creates a different pressure. around it because of the light streams on the earth, right? And from that pressure, it has to create a different life experience in order to give us the experience we need in order to make the correction in the future. That's why it's intelligence. You see? So if it's just like right now, mankind is trying to go green. Because why?
Actions.
But because of his past actions, he realized that he's destroying himself. You know, that the future kids, the future children will be born weaker and sicker because of our past actions, right? So now he's trying to correct that. But what caused that? The mental and physical actions of us created a particular pressure within the atmosphere that dictates what our future will be, right? Or not an aspect of what our future will be. See, and that's all what's happening. We have messed up the great pure energy that rolled from the sun and rolled from we could say the central sun down to the solar sun, or from the laws of creation through through the galaxy, down through the central sun, down to us, down to the mighty sun, down to us, and then created this perfect atmosphere. But it's being contaminated by what? By our thoughts and actions, which produce a dim future for us, right? But if we did everything correct, our atmosphere would be all right.
That's what I'm saying. We're part of this modification Shakti process.
Yes.
So we would be modifying Shakti for lesser life forms compared to ourselves, if
Right.
done properly,
Right.
to allow them to gain their experience.
Right. We're constantly doing that now. Certain species that lived 20, 30 years ago no longer exist here because of our pollution, because of the pollution that we created here on Earth. Now we have to pay for that karmically, because we took a cycle of life expression from the Earth because of our actions. They can't live here and gain experience and move up the ladder because of us. They have to find a different expression, which creates a greater pressure on our total existence. When originally everything was here for a reason, in order to serve some aspect of the earth. In order to give earth is richness. So yeah, our thoughts and actions affect everything, and we're constantly molding and shaping our future every minute, of the day.
Since that is our crime, the improper modification of Shakti,
Yeah. That's our crime. Yeah. And now it's in the Hindu and the Buddhist, the Buddhists give a very simple yet complex, and it's when you really think about it, but it's simple. I forget. Maybe I can find and bring it to you all. I forget the exact Sanskrit name for it, but they give it's a little quote that's from them that they talk about how that happened, how one action can cause 1,001 other actions in order to create, in order to correct that one action. And we're constantly doing that to ourselves, And it takes us 2,000 some years to realize that we're destroying the earth, and that we're moving to a weaker race of human beings, which is, but yet when you go back to the Holy Bible, it says that in the latter days, right, that the children will be smarter but weaker. You know, so someone said that 2,000 some years ago, you know, but yet it took us 2,000 years to actually realize that we need to begin to change our actions, you know, so that doesn't happen. I think we went too far.
Like off the subject or into?
No. I'm just saying we just it was almost 2 hours now, right? So we can finish this up. But this packet, you can look over this packet and it kind of guide you to how this energy is used. There was one thing in here I want to show you all. Oh no. What did I do? It's,
There, the first one under edit is undo. You can't click it.
I can't click it.
What happened?
You move the slide.
You can just drag it back over,
Oh,
like on the left-hand side. You can drag it down.
that's 7, right? Okay. Oh yeah, this is what I want to show you too. I guess this is it.
That's which one?
And we'll get into this maybe next week or whatever, but it shows sound is working again. These are the one syllable mantras within each chakra. These are the BJs, or the bits of sound vibration within each chakra, which all of this produce consciousness. See, so, and it releases a sound that express and cause a magnetic pull on the solar system in order to sustain itself. And this is just one aspect of the soul. All of this is being done by the soul in order to sustain life. So this is the love action of the soul, to sustain your life from one cycle to the next cycle to the next cycle. And the soul set up these what is called the original samskaras. These are the original samskaras that the soul set up in order to make this mechanical type body of yours function on several planes of existence, all at once. Then you have these are the associated planets that for each chakra that the energy is pulled on. And all of this happened through, now when the holy sounds leave the sun and go to the prospective planet or this planet, it leaves there in what they call tavic matter. The scientists call it solar plasma. And this tavic matter is nothing but a modes of motion that's made by the sound against space or against akasa, and it moves from the sun to the Mother Earth or to the moon and to us. And these Tavic rays are lined up within our chakras in order to produce a particular environment, life, consciousness, or whatever. But we can go into that next week. But it all plays out, in these ancient teachings to show us. If there's no more questions, we can close out. Let's close out with a prayer.
Remember, we substituted prevention for great peace. New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts,
Send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power, to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive through their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing, granted energy to sing on forever. Amen.